What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Apologies there, people, a few minutes late. I suppose I'm usually a few minutes late, to be honest, anyway, so nothing new there. But happy Friday, people. Hope you're all well during this international break. We're chilling a little bit at the moment, it's you know me, I don't like to force content, man, and I had a couple of days off, last couple of days. There hasn't been a lot to talk about, and I don't like to force doing streams if there's not something to talk about. But we're here today, people. There's a few bits and bobs to get into. Big up to everyone locked in. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and all of that good stuff. How are you feeling in this international break, man? I don't like international breaks. But when you've just lost a big game, but even saying that, to be honest, I wish we had a game this week to kind of get over that defeat, which I don't know about anybody else. I'm still fuming with what happened um, at Anfield. It felt like we was our own worst enemy. Sweden against Slovenia today. So I think it's Sesko against Jokeres and obviously Isak as well. So, very interesting. Don said, Curtis, I like how our owners are finally acting like owners. It's crazy, isn't it? Sit down on that defeat for 2 weeks. Yo, Marcel, chill, bro. You lot are bullying everyone right now. You took Isak, you took Verts, you took our 3 points. What more do you want, man? You got everything. International break is boring. I can't lie. It's the disappointing thing as well, people, is that there's 3 international breaks in the first 3 months. We got this September one. There's one in October. There's one in November. So it's crazy, to be honest. It is crazy. I have said a few times that I agree with what Wenger said, that they should take 4 weeks out and just do it all in 1 month, because who wants to watch international football 3 months in a row? Boring, just nothing games, But it is what it is. Big up to everyone. I love watching my country play. I mean, I'll be more watching Jamaica play than England, to be honest. I saw a bit of Messi. Could be his last home game for Argentina. He was crying and things like that. Could be worse. He could be a Man U fan. Yeah. Christopher said, Big C, blessings from Cali. If Arteta got sacked, would you take Wenger back? Do you think Arsenal could win with our team? Would I take Wenger back? I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to go down that route. Ultimately, there's a reason Wenger left. There's a reason Wenger hasn't taken another managerial job. He's probably come out of management and then realised he's done. He's exhausted. So I don't think Wenger would be the right route to go down. What I will say is, if Wenger had been at the club for the last 6 years and spent £1 billion with the style of football that he had, I think we'd have achieved more than what Mikel Arteta has. If I'm being totally honest, I think we would have won trophies. We would have won trophies. Prime Cristiano Ronaldo or prime Drogba, it's got to be prime CR7. Prime CR7, you're talking one of the greatest footballers we've ever seen. Drogba is one of the best Premier League strikers, especially playing up front by himself. But prime CR7 is ridiculously high level. Owen, would you take Zidane? Zidane would be a dream managerial appointment for me. He would be one of my main targets, to be honest. The style of football, the presence, the ability to convince players to come to the club. He would be right up there for me. I suppose the only worry with Zidane would be he's been out of the game for a few years now. He's obviously only worked with what we would call the creme de la creme of players. Prime CR7, Bale, Benzema, Modric. How's he going to work with Norgard and those sorts of players? No disrespect to Norgard. For me, number one target would be Luis Enrique. A lot of people would say, you can't get Luis Enrique. They've just won the treble. I think you could convince Luis Enrique to come to the Premier League. He said he nearly went to Tottenham in 2023. So why wouldn't he come to Arsenal? We're a bigger and richer club than them. He may feel at PSG within the next year or so that he's achieved everything he can. But Hansi Flick, Glasner, Mancini, Zidane, Luis Enrique, these are all managers that I would look at and consider because they've all won major trophies and they've all shown that they can build teams as well. And the crazy thing is, Arteta's getting paid more than a lot of these guys. So you're going to offer them a pay rise straight away. I think Enrique would come to the Prem. I think he wants to come to the Prem. He speaks English. I think he would be a magnificent appointment. Mancini, I would take Conte as well. I don't care if he's been at Tottenham. I would take Antonio Conte. I'd take Inzaghi as well. Big C, the best African baller in Premier League history for me is Yaya Toure. I think it's difficult because sometimes you've got to whenever you're doing a debate like this, you've got to separate personal preference from achievement. So for me, I mean, Salah's probably achieved the most, but he wouldn't be Salah wouldn't even be in my top 3 African players in Premier League history. I prefer Yaya, I prefer Drogba, I prefer Riyad Mahrez. Just for the eye test, I prefer those players all over Mo Salah. But what Salah's achieved, you would have to put him up there. Yaya at his best, I think he's almost unplayable, to be honest. Samuel Eto'o, we never saw the best of Eto'o in the Premier League. His best was in La Liga. JJ Okocha was incredible to watch, with the skill. Sadio Mane as well, Kanu. There's been some brilliant African players in this country. No, not quite Gervinho. But yeah, who would be my favourite? Maybe Prime Yaya. I love Drogba as well, but he terrorised Arsenal. He terrorised us. SEM was an absolute monster. What a player he was. Yeah, they verified me on YouTube, people. Jeez. We're here. We finally got the tick. Verified at last. Put that tick next to my name. Yes, we earned that. You know what I'm saying? We earned that, people. You know what I mean? It's not like the Twitter one where you can pay $8.99 a month. This is, you got to earn this one. So, yeah, big up, finally. Yeah, tough one. Tough one to decide. Drogba, Yaya, Mahrez, Salah. Them ones are got to be right up there. I can't lie. They're right up there. Daniel Levy. All right, let's talk about Daniel Levy. I actually had that one saved. Arteta's still unverified. There's no tick next to your name, Mikel. We don't know if you're real or not. We don't know if the cone man's real. Big up, everyone, though. Happy Friday. Hope you're all well. Daniel Levy announces his departure of executive chairman of the Tottenham. It's the history of the Tottenham. I think when you look at Levy, that ultimately, in terms of a football club, he's put them in a fantastic situation as a football club. When you talk about foundations and building a house, he's actually put top quality foundations in place for Tottenham. If they were to get, just as an example, the Qatari owners who wanted to buy Manchester United, right? If they were to get someone like that, over the next few years, they could become a problem. Honestly, because I've been to their training ground. It's unbelievable. I've been to their stadium. It's probably the best in the Premier League if you're talking about a modern stadium. Doesn't have the history and the feel of Anfield and Old Trafford. And, I won't even say the Emirates because, Highbury was the spiritual home. But what he's never done is built on the foundations. When Poch got to the Champions League final, they should have given him loads of money and said, go for it. So, but then he has gone for Conte and Mourinho. Listen, PSR will stop them going crazy for the first year or two. But I hope they don't get, serious owners, because you would imagine their next owners are going to be pumping money into them. And you've seen how things can change. People saying Everton's ground might be better than Tottenham's. To be honest, I haven't been to that ground yet, and I haven't really looked online, so maybe it is better. Has Levy been forced out, or has he walked? Maybe he's just had enough of the hate from that fan base. But listen, we're not going to talk about it for too long. Who really cares? But, these things can affect our club moving forward. I remember when Manchester City were bought, we were like, nah. And then a few years later, they're buying all your players and winning the treble. the thing is, it's more difficult now because of PSR, because when Abramovich bought Chelsea, when Abu Dhabi bought Manchester City, PSR wasn't in place. You could come in and pump money into the football club. New stadium, new training ground, richest manager in terms of biggest contract to get the biggest managers. You can't do that now. Manchester City, that was sort of the last of it. Newcastle have the richest owners in the world, and they're having to sell players because of PSR, because their club doesn't make enough money. Now, Tottenham probably do make more money than Newcastle. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't actually know how the dynamics have changed, because apparently the owners are going to be, it's going to be the same group of owners, and Vinay is going to take over the temporary running of the club. So, but I'm sure they will get some rich owners at some stage. Richard said, I watched the show you did on Monday with Cecil. It's amazing that he absolutely loves every player and thinks they're great. Ask him if there is any player he doesn't rate. Now, big up Cecil, man. Cecil is... sometimes you're at the game, you see things different, is what I will always say, man. Me and him straight away, as soon as the show started, he said that Marino had a really good game. I thought Marino was shocking. So, but that's the beauty of football. I always tell people, unless it's factual, you can't call people out on it, because football is built on opinions. I watched that game on Sunday. I thought Marino was horrible. I thought he rolled around the floor diving, and I thought he was ineffective. Cecil thought he played really well and used his physicality. So we watched the same game and saw two different things. And that's the beauty of it. Cooper said Enrique is a great shout. That would be my number one. Like, that would be absolute number one to go and get. Pokemon Go said, Curtis, my auntie told me you look very handsome. Would like to take you on a date. Pokemon Go, tell your auntie to calm down. Ain't going to happen, but I do appreciate the compliment. As you get older, you don't reject the compliments, but you're going to have to tell your auntie to relax on this one, I'm afraid, Pokemon Go. But big up to your auntie in this one. Hey, it's international break, people. It starts going crazy, don't it? It starts going crazy, people. You have to handle these things with respect. But tell your auntie to relax. Just chill. Anyway, let's move on, people, before the comments start going crazy. I know what you lot are on already. New merch. It is Arsenal. It is an international break. So you knew they were going to drop something for us. They're going to... Man, I done. Relax, man. NTS. A radio station has collabed with Arsenal and dropped this new range, Victory Through Harmony. I mean, listen, I'll be real, right? The colours are all right. I like, I like black kits and things like that. But I'll be real, man. I look like I'm just advertising NTS. And someone online was trolling Arsenal and said this NTS stands for no trophy season. As soon as I saw that, I was like, nah, no trophy season. I said, nah. But yeah, it's just basically a Belgium one, isn't it? With the colours on the thing. I'm not getting it. Riz Shaw, I've still got it, people. Anyway, I won't be buying this one. I can't lie. No trophy season. Nah. I can't do that. People. I don't know how much they are, but I'm sure they're bumping people when it comes to the price. Let's get it off. I'm in a frustrated mood with Arsenal. The way they surrendered at Anfield, I'm still not over it. PSR is basically a balance of how much you can spend compared to how much your club earns. The more your club earns, naturally, the more you can go and spend in the market. Your Liverpool's, Man United's, Arsenal's, Chelsea's, Man City's, they're earning the most money, so they're able to spend without getting done, Still waiting for my Eze kit. People, they haven't even sent it to me yet as well. I'm going to do a giveaway. I haven't even received it yet. I got an email saying it's been delayed. And I know a few people have said they haven't got it. Curtis, how does United not violate PSR as we are the worst at selling players than Arsenal? Also, Villa made profit off players like Duran and violate PSR. It's so confusing. Bro, like, you got to remember it goes off what you've earned. Now, you got to think Manchester United are selling out a 75,000 stadium every single week, sold out. I'm sure your ticket prices will be high. Imagine the amount of merch that Manchester United sell. You know, the Adidas sponsorship deal that you've got, and they're making millions, people. You know what I mean? Millions and millions and millions of pounds. Arsenal the same. And that's how they can do it. Aston Villa's fan base is probably not even 50% of Manchester United's or Arsenal's. They play in a stadium that's like, what, 40,000? Arsenal got 60, much higher ticket price, merch. It's all this. It's all these are the things, you know? These are the things. Villa will be buying players and putting them on bigger wages. Their wage bill will be getting higher. So you need like 5-6 years Champions League football for a Villa to then start being able to spend big money. PSR will always help the biggest clubs in this country, which is why Newcastle are selling players, which is why Villa are selling players. They should really be going mad in the transfer market, but they can't. They can't do it. So, you know, PSR helps Arsenal's, Liverpool's, Man United's, because we make far more money than those clubs, so we can spend more. Villa is the Prince's team, yeah, but it don't seem to be helping them. They had to sell Ramsey. They got rid of Leon Bailey. Duran went in January. Arsenal make up merch sales. Maybe they do make up merch sales, but they do sell a lot. Anybody ever goes to the Emirates on a match day, that armory, you're queuing up to get in it, you know? And like I said, somebody I know works there, and during that Emirates Cup, they had the biggest selling day in the history of the Emirates Stadium, made over 400 grand against Bilbao when Gyökeres had just signed. So, and the Eze shirt, you can't get the Eze shirt at the moment. Anyway, happy birthday to Starboy Saka. Starboy turns 24 today. Do you know what? For some reason, I was really surprised. Like, you feel like as a fan, you know how old all your players are. But for some reason, I was surprised when I heard that Saka was 24. Like, I thought Saka was like 22 or 21. I don't know why. He's been around for ages, but then also, I'm sure he was still getting nominated for Young Player of the Year a couple of years. I don't know how it works. Maybe it's 23 and under, but he's 24. 24, you know, and you look at it. One trophy since he's been at the club. FA Cup final. He was on the bench. Didn't play much of a part in that run. He was young at that time. And you're looking at it going, Saka, 24, the level he's at, the amount of responsibility he's taken. Saka's at a real crunch time in his career. And a lot of people will go, 24, it's not crunch time. What I mean by that is, like, he's now got less than 2 years on his contract at Arsenal, right? He also has got one FA Cup that, let's be honest, he played no real part in that FA Cup win. That was Auba and Lacazette and Bellerin and Emi Martinez and Maitland-Niles. It was those boys. He was young at the time. If I'm Saka, I'm sitting there today and I'm going, while he's nursing that hamstring injury on the left leg, and while he's got that scar on the right leg, I'd be sitting there going, one FA Cup. They've got a. This is what I keep saying about Mikel Arteta. You are not going to get forever. Arsenal fans are too relaxed about the Arteta and the Arsenal situation. We're far too relaxed because we think we're competing, we've got a good team, we've got good players, good sporting director, money being spent. I'm sitting here going, yo, you're going to lose somebody if you don't win trophies. You're going to either lose Saka out the blue, or you're going to lose Saliba. Or you might even get shocked and lose somebody else. Somebody go, you know what, I need a left-sided centre-back. I'll go and pay 75 million for Gabriel. Something's going to go wrong in this squad if we do not win trophies soon. You're also looking at Saka going, 2 hamstring injuries, 1 tear and 1 pull. You've got to be very careful with this guy. We all sat there watching Jack Wilshere boss Barcelona. We went, we got a superstar on our hands here. This guy's a teenager bopping Iniesta and Xavi, people. We went, yeah, this is going to be one of the best English midfielders of this generation. Within 4 or 5 years, we were loaning him out to try and get fit. We got to be very careful how we handle Bukayo Saka moving forward. We've got to stop putting so much responsibility on him. We've got to stop playing him all the time because I'm worried about him. Even Arteta said in the press conference he's worried about Saka's injuries. Now, if he's saying that and he downplays a lot of things, we should be very worried. They have to win now. If we're considered one of the best teams, you've got to win trophies. We haven't got time to wait. And they have to manage him better. Because we looked at it 18 months ago, people, and we said, when we heard Klopp was going and Liverpool weren't quite at it, we said, it's us and Man City. The moment City drop off, we're going to win trophies. City had the drop-off of all drop-offs last season, didn't win one trophy. And yet we still didn't win a trophy because Liverpool crept up on us and went, don't forget about us, mate. We got Salah and Van Dijk and Alisson. We've got world-class players. They've just dropped 400 million. Now we're sitting here 18 months later going, this is probably a harder Premier League to win now than the one from 2 seasons ago. Because it was a shootout with Man City. Now you've got Liverpool with a young, fresh, vibrant team and a new manager with a lot of energy. Pep's still around. He's in the middle of a rebuild, but there's still going to be a problem. We don't know how good Chelsea are going to be. So we got to strike while the iron's hot, people. Curtis, at least it was an auntie, not a grandma. You know what I'm saying? Big up last loss. Ion said, off top, Chelsea sell NJ for 70 million. Nicholas Jackson, yeah? We give away Oba. And we're high-fiving, giving away Oba. Do you know one thing? And listen, I hate to harp on, but I know a lot of people used to have a go at me in the chat and say, you know, you're Aubameyang's lawyer and you always defend him and blah, blah, blah. When you look at the striker market now, you can see why I used to cap so much for him as a striker. Because Man United got Sesko. I actually really rate João Pedro at Chelsea. He looks like he could be a game changer. But what I'm saying is, if you put prime Oba into Arsenal's team now, you'd look at him and say, he's one of the best strikers in the world. Honestly, you would. When you look at the numbers he was getting and some of his goals, he just was with us at the wrong time. So was Alexis Sanchez. Alexis Sanchez now, in this team, he's Arsenal's best player. He's better than Saka. He's better than all of our players if you put Alexis in our team now. You put Oba in our team now, he's one of the best strikers on the planet. He's as good as Isak for me. Prime Oba. He'd go for over 100 million. You know what I mean? He actually left Arsenal, won the league at Barca, bagged loads at Marseille, went Saudi, still bagging goals. Because there aren't many strikers like that. Pace, play on the shoulder, can finish, flair as well. Celebrations, you know, Oba was a whole vibe. Alexis would be our best player. He'd be one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. If he was here now at his prime, it's the kind of player we've been desperate for since he left. Rambir said 100% guaranteed trophies if Arteta gets sacked. I listen, I know a lot of people say, you know, you're always harping on about this. I look at the structure of Arsenal now and I go, right, no matter what I think about the Kroenkes, Josh seems to be running this club very different to the way Stan was running the club. Stan didn't look interested. Stan was never at the games. He never spoke. He didn't write the big checks when they needed writing. We were not a priority. Josh is at games. Josh is going to the awards. Josh is having meetings to get deals done. You see him here. He's visible. He's doing interviews. We've signed a £100 million player before Manchester United. That's crazy. And listen, people, I'm one of the biggest and loudest noises online to say I'm not happy with the Kroenkes. But everything requires balance in life. And I genuinely think Josh is running the football club in a positive manner. I honestly do. I think he wants to prove people wrong. He probably wants to prove to his dad, look, I can go to Arsenal and win the Premier League. Look what I did. Look what I did, Dad. I won the league at Arsenal. Josh will be like, look, I've a £100 million player at Arsenal before Man United. £260 million spent this summer, the biggest window in Arsenal's history. You've hired Andrea Berta, I believe, is elite at his job. The reality of this situation, our owners pumping money into the club. Our sporting directors, world class in my opinion. Our team is good enough to win trophies. We've got top quality players. What is the one part of the whole ladder that you're like, that's the bit that's costing you the trophies? It all comes back, unfortunately, to Mikel Arteta. Mikel is the part of that is not elite. He's unproven. And he still hasn't proven it. We gave an inexperienced man the job. Can you prove yourself? Now, I will always say the guy has definitely rebuilt us to a situation where it's like, okay, we're solid now, right? We were flimsy when he came in. We weren't as bad as people make out. We'd finished 5th and got to Europa League final the year before, but we had players that were nowhere near the level. Your Kolasinac, your Mustafis, these guys. We had some players that was like, you're nowhere near good enough to be it. He's definitely brought us back to a position where we can go, okay, I'm proud of that team. But you have had 6 years and you have had $1 billion. So I expect that to happen. If you go to Arsenal Football Club and somebody gives you 6 years in charge and £1 billion, I shouldn't be surprised that you've taken that team back to a strong position. If you give Amorim $1 billion now at Man United in 6 years, United will probably improve. And I don't even think Amorim's that good. So he is the link where you go, is that the problem? Sporting directors proved in one summer, look what I can do. Look what Berta's done in one summer. Josh is pumping money in now, showing ambition. Fair enough. The team is improving. Online, the fans love this team. They think most of this team are top quality. Sometimes they overrate some of them. So the one missing link is, imagine if we had Luis Enrique as manager. Imagine if we had Conte, or imagine if we had Zidane, or I think that is the missing piece. Liverpool, everything changed once Klopp came in. Brendan Rodgers built an exciting team, blah, 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 but they didn't have that magic of a manager to give them that winning mentality. This team, as good as they are, they don't know how to get over the finish line. They stumble. It's like a 100-meter runner that gets to 80 meters and he's winning and he trips over at the end, runs out of energy. You need sometimes a manager that can learn you to get over the line. Klopp did that at Liverpool. And that's what Arsenal are lacking, in my opinion. They need an experienced manager with big shoulders to come in and say, yo, Saliba, Saka, Rice, Gabriel, you man, Gyökeres, I'm going to show you how to get over the finish line. And I'm going to improve all of you as well. Because that's what top managers do, people. Luis Enrique has took Dembele. The first time we played PSG last season, he was out of the squad. We all knew him as a right winger. And his career was flailing. Barcelona had got rid of him. He goes to PSG. He's having problems off the pitch, turning up late for training. By the time we play them in the semi-final, he's a Ballon d'Or nominated striker, scored over 30 goals. Luis Enrique to Dembele. That is what you call a transformation and a half. That's what top managers do. Vitinha's at Wolves, nobody even really notices him. By the time we play them, yo, this Vitinha is like Fabregas, blah, blah, blah. He's unbelievable. Kvaratskhelia, we all wanted him at Arsenal. He grabs him in January. Doué, French skillful baller, one of the best young players in the world. Transforms players. Nuno Mendes, one of the best left-backs in the world. They all got better under him. We all knew about Donnarumma for years. When we played PSG, Donnarumma looked like Superman in goal. He looked like you couldn't score past him. He was unplayable. That's what top managers do. First job of any manager, improve what you've got. Forget the transfer window. Improve what you've got. Is Martinelli as bad as he looks right now? Because I've never seen Martinelli look this bad. Why does he look this bad right now? He looks like he can't play football. Is Odegaard this bad? Whether you love these players or not, or you'd keep them or not, I don't believe Martinelli's as bad a footballer as you're watching right now. I just don't believe he is. I don't know how you score 15 goals, rip up right backs, get in the Brazil squad, Klopp singing your praises. We all love the guy. 2 years later, you look like you can't play football anymore. Odegaard 2 years ago, they're comparing him to Kevin De Bruyne. Now, I don't think he's as good as Kevin De Bruyne, but people were singing the guy. Now, you look like you can't shoot the ball. So there has to be something wrong that the manager is not improving, especially attacking players. Especially attacking players. But yeah, big up Rambit. Stevie said if Arteta leaves, he'll take Havertz and Martinelli too. That's if he gets a decent job, and then they ain't going to be able to pay those wages. And Stevie said, but a good fit because Arteta defensive like Simeone. Yeah. As I always said, people, you can play that kind of football, but you got to be successful. If you're not, it's a big problem. It's a big problem. Fitz said, see a picture first. The art, yeah. Roger said, look, yeah, my art is Rihanna. Oh, oh. You know, big up Fitz, man. Stevie said Zidane can fix Arsenal offensive. Bro, when Arsene Wenger turned up at Arsenal, the foundation was in place. George Graham had sorted that back four out. Yeah, so when Wenger came in, he went, oh yeah, this defense is rock solid. Yeah, and my goalkeeper's top quality as well. So all I've actually got to do is add some attacking quality to this team, and we're going to start balling out. He had the French market on lock. Henry, Wiltord, Perez, Vieira's, Petit. Next minute, we're unreal. Can you imagine walking into Arsenal now as a manager, right? Where most managers get a job when a team's falling apart. Imagine walking into Arsenal and going, I've got the Golden Glove winner in goal. I don't think he's the best goalkeeper in the league, but he's a Golden Glove winner 2 years in a row. I've got Timber, who is one of the best right backs in Europe defensively. I think he can improve going forward. I've got Gabriel and Saliba. I mean, Saliba's going to be the best centre back in the world, in my opinion, once Van Dijk gets a little bit older. Gabriel's outstanding. One of the best centre back pairings in the league. Left back is not totally convincing. Calafiore had a good game the other day. I don't know yet about him. Maybe Nkapia plays there. Raya, yeah, he's been a little bit panicky at times, but he's still good. You've got Zubimendi and Declan Rice. You've got Saka. You've got Gyökeres. You've got Eze. You're walking into that team going, what's the problem here? How come they can't score goals? You should be walking in going, right, Saka, play higher up the pitch, less defensive work. Let's get you in them situations. Salah gets in, right forward, corner of the penalty area, right? And I want you to go from 10 goals to 20 goals. Because I need to know why Brian Mbeumo can score 20 goals playing for Brentford and you're struggling to get double figures playing for Arsenal when you're a better player than Brian Mbeumo. So that means something's wrong with your positioning on the pitch, the style of football. Also, we're running you into the ground, which means you get hamstring injuries all the time. Then I'm looking at the striker position. I'm going, Gyökeres, bro, play the width for the 18-yard box and we're going to feed you. Because once again, why is Wissa getting 20 goals at Brentford? You need to be getting 20 to 30 goals. And that's how we're going through it. We're running through the team like that. If Odegaard's the 10 or Eze's the 10, I want you to play 10 yards away from Gyökeres. I don't want you picking the ball up off the centre backs. The foundation is there. Realistically, Arsenal's attacking midfielder, both their wingers and their striker, you should see those four every time we attack. And then maybe Declan Rice joins in, then maybe a fullback joins in. We should be attacking in numbers. Because we got a 6, we got 2 quality centre backs. Why are we so defensive when we've already got such a solid foundation? Trust the back four. Let Timber go 1v1 with their left winger. Don't make Saka come back all the time to double up to make sure their left winger doesn't cause problems. or drag him back the left winger to double up with Calafiori. Go 1v1. That's the problem with football nowadays. Fullbacks don't take no responsibility. Oh, come back and double up. Double up, fam. Do your job. Do your job. You know what I mean? Do your job, people. Fullbacks, bring the winger back so we can double up and make sure. No, you do your job, Timber, and allow Saka to stay high up the pitch. So when we win the ball back, we can break at pace. And Saka's 15 yards away from the goal rather than 60 yards away from the goal. I'm watching half of these teams in the Premier League, mid-table teams, and I watch players for them and I go, wow, how come our wingers don't play like that? I watch a Bournemouth game and Semenyo looks like a world beater and I go, oh my God, look at him on the break. Man's running from his own half at Anfield and slotting it bottom corner. When we don't play like that. I'm watching Palace and Elise, the way he balled out for them, and Eze when he's balling out for them. I'm watching Brighton and Matoma and, and Buemo when he's at Brentford and Jared Bowen at West Ham. And these guys, they play with freedom. They attack at pace. And you look at Arsenal and you go, well, Saka don't play like that. If I said to you now, you can watch Semenyo or Saka, you'd rather watch Semenyo. And that's not because he's a better player than Saka. That's because of what Saka's being asked to do. He's going to spend half the game defending. So I just, if we continue to play this defensively, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Because you've got to free up this attack. You've got to free up this attack. No Arsenal player scored 10 goals last season in the Premier League. How are you expected to win a title playing like that? It's impossible. It's impossible. I have more fun watching Bournemouth, you know what I mean, than Arsenal. It doesn't make sense, people. Arteta needs to free up this attack. You don't sign Eze and make him do that. If you do that to Eze, you're going to ruin him. God, let Eze be a free spirit, drift, start playing. You got to let Saka play high up the pitch. The reason he's probably getting hamstring injuries is because he's running so much and he's doing so much defensive work. Gyökeres needs more service. If Odegaard's in the 10, he needs to create. He needs to play close to the striker. We need to change. I really hope that Liverpool game has some sort of effect on Arteta, because he's been criticised in the media as well. So even the mainstream media are recognising it now. Do you know what I mean? Saying, look, man, you're too defensive. All of a sudden, there's no problem Arsenal being good at set pieces and doing long throw-ins. You're supposed to add that to the quality football that you've already got, where now it feels like we're relying on that. And that's the difference. If you're adding it, no problem. You're playing good football, and when you get a set piece, you're a massive threat. I almost feel like now Arsenal are playing for a corner. And you saw that with Martinelli when was on the break. Man's running to the corner and trying to kick it off Konate for a corner. People saying I deserve a timeout for hitting the nail on there. Well, not everyone will like this, people. But I'm telling you now, we're a better team than we look at the moment. We're a better team than that. We don't need to be this defensive. He's overdoing it. I'm actually giving the guy advice. Zidane, yeah, he could fix us. Zidane would bin Odegaard, Martinelli, and Howard. Didn't he get rid of Odegaard from Real Madrid? Said he was 8th choice midfielder. White Glove C, do you think that some of these mid-table wingers might just be better than us? Full stop. How can we objectively say Saka is better than Bukayo? I mean, they are uncomfortable conversations. They are uncomfortable conversations, to be honest. I think Saka is better than Bukayo, but I get what you're saying. Because sometimes we look at a player score 20 at Brentford, and we look at our player score 7 or 8, and we go, nah, but our player's better than him because, he plays for Arsenal. But the problem is when you score 20 goals at Brentford, people will say, until I see you go to the next level and do that, you're not going to get the full ratings. So until Mbeumo goes to United and scores 15, 20, people are not going to say, oh, Mbeumo's as good as Saka, or that's just how it sort of goes, isn't it? Because there's a difference in level of expectation and pressure. Pressure changes people, don't it? You've seen a lot of top players at lower clubs. They go to big clubs and they can't handle it. So it's that difference in that step up. I think what we always have to remember with Saka, I've said many times with Saka, I think his game can go up another level. But I think people also have to understand the amount of pressure that Saka's had on his shoulders over the years. Realistically, the moment Aubameyang walked out of the door, Saka was the guy that said, I'm going to take responsibility. It wasn't Lacazette. It wasn't anyone else. Saka has been the main focus of attention in this team. And I honestly think Saka is capable of scoring 20 league goals. The problem is you burn him out defensively and we don't create enough chances for him to score that many goals. So I think Saka's an even better player than you're watching at Arsenal, to be honest. I think he's an even better player. But it's just the lack of freedom that we play with. So sometimes in life, people, to win, you can't be afraid to lose. To win, you can't be afraid to lose. And Arteta looks afraid to lose games. Therefore, he doesn't go for the win. You're at Anfield, you concede in the, 81st minute? Put 2 strikers up front. Put Marino up front with Gyökeres. Play 4-4-2. Do something different. Do something out of the ordinary. You just stuck to the same thing. I'll take you off for you. I take Madueke off for Dalman. You go on the right. And I'm going to take you off, Martinelli, on the left for Eze. And we're just going to do the same thing over and over again. You're losing. The game's gone. You're losing, bro. You ain't going to score unless you throw the kitchen sink at it. And sometimes in life, when you go for something, something falls to you. So maybe you got 6 people in the penalty area and Van Dijk heads it and it falls to somebody and you score. But instead, you're still sticking to the plan, bro. It's always... I bet he's just got diagrams all in his house. All over the walls, just diagrams. Looking like a maths teacher. Go for it, man. Do you know what I realised? And saying that, you've just reminded me, and I said this the other day. I said for years, I've called Arteta the Spanish Brendan Rodgers. Today, here and now, I take it back. He is not the Spanish Brendan Rodgers. Because Brendan Rodgers has won trophies at Leicester and at Celtic, right? And Arteta would not win trophies at Leicester. He'd get them relegated. He is the Spanish Gareth Southgate. He ain't Brendan Rodgers. That's actually disrespectful to Brendan Rodgers. He is the Spanish Gareth Southgate. The nearly man. The nearly man. That's why they wanted Southgate out of the England job. You're the nearly man. You get to finals, you get to semi-finals, it don't happen. You're the Spanish Southgate, bro. Real talk. I will no longer call him the Spanish Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers won multiple trophies, including league titles. He is the Spanish Southgate. And his football was bang average to watch as well. Which is why even when England got to finals, you was bored watching it. So that's who he is. Yeah, he won an FA Cup. So did Brendan. Brendan won an FA Cup with Leicester. That's harder than winning one with Arsenal. So, and he's won titles in Scotland. So I'm not giving it him. You're the Spanish Southgate. T-Dot said, get Mourinho in. He delivers trophies and is a serial winner. I've always loved Jose. I think Jose's tired now, man. I think Jose's tired. He looks tired to me. I think Jose's got to go Saudi and get the bag now. He-Man said, see, Arteta's blueprint is Pep. Look how many Flair Maverick players have had problems with Pep. Aguero, KDB, Sané, Grealish. Flair players are there. I mean, I've watched Grealish 2 games for Everton. I said, wow, he's back. I looked at Grealish at Man City. I thought he was finished. I said, this guy's finished. He's a model. You know, he's done. He's not done. He's a baller. It's Pep. The system has suffocated him. Now, what happens sometimes, footballers will sacrifice individual brilliance and gain for financial reward and trophies. So Grealish has basically said, I'm not going to be the top player that I'm capable of being, but I'm going to win multiple trophies and I'm going to earn 250 grand a week. Because Grealish a far better player than we're seeing at City. Would you take Don Carlo? Yeah, I would. I would. He wouldn't need to do much, and he allows players to play. Look at Vinicius and them, man. Mikel Arteta built the defence, but don't trust them to do the job. Absolutely nailed it there. 2 years in a row, we've conceded the least goals in the Premier League So trust them to defend. Let them defend. Do you know, like Liverpool, when Trent was at fullback and Robertson was at left back, Robertson would be bombing on forward. Trent would be bombing on, putting crosses in. Van Dijk and Canate, maybe Henderson in front, they would have to defend if they got hit on the break. So they're gambling. Arsenal have got to gamble. You've got to start rolling the dice, Mikel. Arteta is even defensive in his interviews. Yeah, he is. Gibbs said we need us in our team, e.g. Joel Linton, Tarkowski, Dunk, Decore, Osimhen, etc. Look at Klopp, Wijnaldum, Fabinho. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, you've still got to have a certain level of quality with that as well. You know, we don't want Lee Cattermole. Remember them days? But yeah, you need them horrible players sometimes. I mean, Joel Linton's horrible to play against. Big up Rudy with the super sticker. I know I've waffled on a bit today, people. We're 48 minutes in. I've barely even started talking about the stories today, but that Liverpool game had a bit of a damning effect on me in terms of you get all that motivation, you sign those players, you go on tour, the new kits, you see Gyökeres, Eze, you think, right, we're a different team this year. And you go to Anfield and play like that, and I'm just like, it's the same thing as last season. It doesn't matter what players this guy's got. He's going to play the same way. You could give this guy Mbappe, Barella, he'd still play like that. But hopefully this Liverpool game's had a damning effect on him. I don't think it will. I honestly think he'll sit there and go, we defended great, we restricted them. He blamed Eze for not scoring, and then he'll go, oh, it's just a moment of magic. You know, we were just as good as them. I've heard some content creators saying, oh, I love the performance at Anfield because it shows we're on the same level as Liverpool. No, it doesn't. It shows they didn't even have to get out of second gear and they beat us. And we're the challengers. If you're challenging for the world title in boxing and he's got the world championship belt and you and him go in the ring and it's just a slow fight and then you get late on in the rounds and he just knocks you out with a big right hand, you don't go, well, man, I really proved myself for them 8 rounds that I can compete with him. Yeah, but he knocked you out, mate, and you lost. And you lost. You're not on his level. We were meant to go there and make it a war with Liverpool. Let's go to war. Yeah, we've now got attacking talent. They've beat us 1-0 without getting out of second gear. They've seen us defend for the majority of the game. And then they've gone, Alexander Isak, 130 million. So we're probably going to go up another level. So the next time you see them, they're going to be a different proposition. So for me, I didn't see oh, I'm so proud that we competed with them. No, I didn't see that. I saw a manager that was trying not to lose a game of football. And he thought, if I can nick it from a set piece or get a draw, I'll be absolutely delighted. And we didn't. And like I said before, their manager changed tactics and took the game away from us. SG said, I would call Arteta the Paella Pardew. Paella Pardew, you know. Yo, you see when Pardew was dancing that time in the FA Cup? I don't know if Arteta can move like that, you know, but I hear you. And Pardew had the wingers balling at Palace, you know, Balassi and Zaha. But I hear you, SG. DMW said, I swear Arteta knows he's safe with top 4, and by playing defensively, he knows he just needs to win 1 or 2 versus the big 6. Now, that's a great point as well. Does he know that, listen, top 4 will keep me in a job? I'll defend my way to a title challenge. Because the reality is, we're so good defensively, we're not going to lose many games. We're not going to lose many games. And especially at home, we'll have enough firepower to knock off most of the teams outside of the top 6. We'll do all right against a couple of them. That'll get a 2nd or 3rd. And we'll probably get to the latter stages of the Champions League. I think you're spot on. He's very comfortable with his position. Big up David, who said, big up Big C, love your channel. I'm actually a Forest supporter, just chilling in Norfolk Coast. Yeah? Big up to you, man. Forest. We got Forest next as well. Chuck said, I don't know, Curtis. I think that might change this season. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about this story that's come out. However, the only reason I didn't lead with this story is because the source of information is not a good source. So I don't know how true this is. It came from an Arsenal account that's got quite a big following, but he could just be saying it, and no other major outlet has led with it. And you'd think something like this would potentially get leaked. However, we'll talk about it and just sort of see whether we think there could be any truth in this or not. Big up to Run as well, man. C Unit Business. Yeah, Abjeet, you're right. The source is not sourcing. So that's why I didn't make it the headline. It could be made up. But the story said Josh Kroenke has held a meeting with Mikel Arteta discussing what he expects this season. He has given Arteta everything he has asked for and expects to have a successful season. Trophies must be won. Now, I look at it one way. Billionaires do not become billionaires by being walkovers. Ultimately, Stan is still the owner of Arsenal, but Josh is the one who's running the club. But I'm sure things have to be ran by Stan as well. They've given us the biggest window we've ever had in the history of the football club. 260 million with Nkapie on a loan with obligation. That would have been over 300 million, which is unbelievable for Arsenal Football Club to spend that money. This source might not be true and this story might not be true. We do know that Josh spent over a week in the country. So clearly wanted to know what was happening and had meetings with the manager and apparently signed off the Eze deal. So what I'm saying is, surely Stan and Josh are thinking, we've done another 260 million here, 300 by time Nkapie signs. There must be an expectation that something's got to change. If they felt we've got top four, we don't. What I'm trying to say is, if we think we're comfortable getting top four, he probably doesn't need to spend 260 million. He could have maybe dropped 150 and said that should get you top four. Surely Josh must be thinking, we've just done the biggest ever Arsenal window in their history. This manager's got to deliver something. They've won their other sporting franchises. Do you know what I mean? They've won the Stanley Cup. They've won the Super Bowl. They've won the NBA championships. They must be looking at Arsenal and going, come on, this has got to work eventually. You don't just pump money into a football club and go, well, if he gets top four. And I'm telling you now, I think a lot of the noise and a lot of the pressure is going to come first from the fan base and secondly from the mainstream media, because I honestly think the mainstream media is where the pressure is going to come from, because you've never seen these guys. You look in now and you might think these are just names, but your Ferdinands, your Paul Scholes, your Jamie Carragher's, your Roy Keanes. You know, I know a lot of these guys are not Arsenal guys, but Petit's and Henry's, these guys have influence. They're on major channels. You get enough of these big ex-players going, Arteta's the problem here. Arteta cost you that Liverpool game. Arteta's the one that's overplaying Saka and forcing him to get hamstring injuries. That is where I think the pressure will build from. Now, I know a lot of people just think all these ex-players hate Arsenal. But then Arsenal players are saying it and they're going, oh, Petit's hating on Arteta, Henry's hating. They're not all hating. A lot of them actually care about the club and are just saying what a lot of us are thinking. But because they have the platform and they're an ex-player, when Henry comes out and says Arteta's got to win trophies, some of these guys online go, oh, Arteta's hating. No, he's not hating, bro. He's got a statue outside the stadium. He's the best player we've ever seen at the club. If anyone's got a right to talk, it's him. Tony Adams also, statue. Best captain I've ever seen at the club. So those guys have got every right to talk. I think the mainstream media are changing a little bit with Arteta. They're all going now. A lot of these guys that have defended Arteta over the years are saying, yeah, he's a good manager, but he's got to win. He's got to win. He's on 15 million a season. He's spent $1 billion. He's won one FA Cup. Ten Hag's an awful manager. He won an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup. So I don't believe that that source of information knows anything about this. But what I'm saying, there has to be an expectation from Josh that you've got to win something, you know, minimum of an FA Cup and challenge for the league and challenge for the Champions League. I do think the tide is turned. I do think the tide is turning. People also have to understand, I think Arteta's got a year left at the end of this season. So what will happen with his contract? The king is right. How tall is the building? Exactly. I've always said, people, I don't care who the Arsenal manager is. I actually don't care. As long as we're winning. I'm not bothered about the manager. I've never, when we were younger, I never went crazy about the manager. Yeah, we all loved Wenger, but the game's different now. You don't see managers at clubs for 10, 15, 20 years. So you're not going to idolize a manager the way that you probably did Arsene Wenger, or the way that Man United did Sir Alex Ferguson, or Klopp at Liverpool. You'll be lucky now if a manager stays at your club for 5 years, to be honest, because the demand is so high. So I don't care who the manager is. I've criticised Arteta for years. If he wins the title or the Champions League, I will celebrate him like he's my favourite manager we've ever had, because I'm not bothered. I don't care about the manager. You know, I don't think, you've never gone in a store and said, print the manager's name on the back of my shirt. You just don't. You never scored a goal in the playground and shouted the manager's name. You tend to love the players. So he's just got to win. You know, I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't want to hear the PR. I don't want to hear none of it. Your squad is big. You've spent so much money. You've bought so many goalkeepers, so many left backs, so many centre midfielders. You've given massive contracts to a lot of these players. So you've got to prove yourself now. And that's what I said I was happy about this season. Because as Arsenal fans, we're all going to get clarity about what this manager is, because every other year he's had excuses. Oh, but Saliba, we didn't have no backup for Saliba. Oh, but we had Havertz up front and he's not an out-and-out striker. Oh, we had no cover for Saka once Saka got injured. All them excuses are gone, bro. You spent 52 million on the Saka backup. Yeah? You bought one of the hottest strikers in Europe if you look at his goal record. You buy a left-sided centre-back every single summer. Kivi or Calafiori. Now Nkapia. You got Zubimendi, who's the six that you've wanted for 2 years. Declan Rice, 100 million. Eze on the left. He's got nowhere to hide. Nowhere. Nowhere, people. It's like trying to play hide and seek in the bathroom. There's nowhere you can hide, bro. You know what I mean? So it's crunch time for Mikel. And I love that, because I'm sick of all the excuses. You've been at the club 6, 7 years now. You can't even be considered an inexperienced manager anymore, to be honest. You've been in the game long enough to know how the game works. So I'm glad that situation is there. Like I said, my fear is he'll stick with a manager. We'll end up right back in those final Wenger years, watching our best players leave. The one thing that will wake this whole fan base up, most of you know this anyway because you've experienced it, but a lot of the younger generation will be one of the star players leaving. If you see Saliba holding up that Real Madrid shirt, some of these fans won't even understand what they're seeing, because they probably don't think that will ever happen. Oh, it can't happen to us. We finished second. We're a big club. You know, the atmosphere inside the stadium. These players don't care about that. Saliba ain't going to sit there and go, boy, love to go to Madrid, you know, but when that North London Forever plays before the game, it's like nothing I've ever heard. Give me that pen. Let me sign that contract. He's going to get to a point, he goes, I'm turning up to international duty with France, and Saliba's got another Champions League medal, and Tchouameni and Camavinga. Well, Mbappe hasn't actually won the Champions League, but they could win it this year. And those guys are going to be turning up. You know, you see when the international videos on YouTube and the black Mercedes pulls up, they get out the car. Koundé's wearing some zesty outfit or something. You know what I mean? And Saliba's just getting out with that look on his face, like, yeah, mate, second again, lads. Second again. Do you know what I mean? That ain't going to last forever. Listen, hopefully he does. Hopefully he does sign a new contract. But when one of their star players that they idolize walks out the door, they are going to be shell-shocked. We've seen it, people. We've seen Van Persie go to United and score against us. Do you know what I mean? Fabregas lobbing our goalkeeper in a Chelsea shirt. Ashley Cole winning the Champions League final. Adebayor knee sliding in front of our fans. We've seen it. There ain't nothing that can shock us. If I see Saliba at Madrid, that'll be light work. I'll be like, Okay, yeah, can't argue with that. Even Yoro's got more trophies than Saliba. Wow, that's mad. That's mad. RVP was. I honestly said the day I saw breaking news RVP going to United, I think that's one of my worst ever days as an Arsenal fan. Outside of losing the Champions League final, it's worse than Thierry Henry leaving the club. I don't think Sanchez Man U was as bad, to be honest. We signed Oba 2 weeks later, so it kind of settled things, you know. Plus, Sanchez was fading. RVP was at his peak. He went to United, won the Golden Boot, and won the title. It was pure embarrassment. We replaced him with Shamak as well. At least we got Oba in for Sanchez, so that settled things at Arsenal because we signed a star. Breathe Greatness TV said he has to go, Curtis. He is too scared of losing to win. Exactly. To win, you got to be prepared to lose. He's not prepared to lose, so he plays it safe. That's why we drew 14 games last season in the Prem. Daniel said, I think Josh wants a trophy this year. Arteta will be in trouble. If not, I think he's gone otherwise. There are no excuses left, no hiding place. If we don't win a trophy, I think he'll get annihilated at the end of the season by the media. Jordan said, friend of mine has a physio clinic in London that specialises in hamstrings. Saka was referred to him from Arsenal, plus other specialists. All advised not to play again last season. Not surprised, R.E. Saliba. A lot of us said that, didn't we, last season? We said don't play him for the rest of the season. Even if we're playing Madrid, leave him out. The long-term damage. So with certain injuries, right, if they say you're out for 4 weeks, don't play them for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. What Arsenal tend to do is, like now, Saka's out for 4 weeks. 4 weeks takes us to Manchester City at home. I bet you any money he plays against Manchester City because Arteta doesn't believe in the group when Saka's not in the team. I'm not saying he doesn't believe in the team, but he feels like, I need Saka. I need Saka to win a big game. So they've said 4 weeks with Saka. Saka will play after 4 weeks, which will be Manchester City at home. He may miss the Forest game. He'll play against City. Where Saka probably needs 8 weeks off. You know what I mean? He's still actually dealing with the fact he's torn his hamstring, which Havertz has done his knee. That could be due to the fact he tore his hamstring because sometimes certain injuries make your body overcompensate. So you do a bad injury here, it can do things in other parts of your body. Havertz tears his hamstring, comes back 2 games, knee injury out for 2 or 3 months. Saka tears his hamstring, comes back for 7, 8 games at the end of the season, pulls the other hamstring. Now he's out for 4 weeks. Now you're bringing him back, and then you're going to go torn hamstring on the right, pulled hamstring on the left. Wingers are explosive players. That, you know, even Arteta said that. We're worried about Saka because he's an explosive winger, and that's now both hamstrings at the age of 24. But I'm very, very concerned about Saka this season because we saw this with Jack Wilshere. Injured, bring him back. Injured, the other leg, bring him back, both legs. Then you're carrying him through. Then he's going on loan. Then he's... Muscular injuries are worse a lot of the time than impact injuries because that means your body is just failing you for whatever reason. There's no real explanation. If you land awkwardly, if you twist awkwardly and something like that, you could say, okay, that's what caused my body to do that. When you're just running and your hamstring's just pulling out, you've got a big problem. Yeah, I was watching the Michael Owen interview with Ferdinand. I was watching that. Michael Owen's one of the best strikers England's ever produced, ever. The guy was an absolute superstar, Ballon d'Or winner. Now, I personally enjoyed young Wayne Rooney watching him play more than young Michael Owen because I liked Rooney's game. I felt at that Euros when he was flicking the ball over Desai and that, I thought Rooney was going to be the best player in the world. But young Michael Owen he's a Ballon d'Or winner. Look at the goal against Argentina. As soon as he ripped up that hamstring, his game was changed. Daniel Sturridge at Liverpool, hamstring injury. Torres. The hamstring is very, very difficult. Some players get on with it. It works. You know, Elise did it. Look at him now. He's at the best point in his career. Dembele did it. he could win the Ballon d'Or. Snapped his hamstring at 19, yeah? Yeah. Crazy. Michael Owen. Watch that interview with Rio Ferdinand and Owen. Great interview. I love how he talks about Henry. He's like, yeah, I thought I was the best player in the world. I saw Thierry Henry and I knew I was no longer the best player in the world. Bro, we've been ringing this bell for years about Saka. Yeah, because we've seen it, bro. We've seen it. How good was Abu Diaby? We thought he was the new Patrick Vieira. Injuries. Cazorla, genius. Everybody loves Santi Cazorla. Genius of a footballer. Injuries. Too much football at too high intensity. But big up to that Jordan, man. Jorge said, this is Mikel's only chance at a big club. I mean, that's another great conversation, isn't it? If Arteta was to leave Arsenal, what sort of a level of football club is he going to? Where would he end up? Because, listen, he's got links with PSG. He's got links with Barcelona. He's also got links with Everton and Rangers. I think big clubs, I think some of the biggest clubs would stay away from him because ultimately he hasn't won enough. I don't think he's won enough to get those jobs. I think they'd look at him and go, yeah, but he had 6 years at Arsenal and $1 billion and he won an FA Cup. You can't come to Barcelona. They won't accept that. They'll sack you after 5 months, bro. Never mind 6 years. You know what I mean? Alonso, they were booing Real Madrid in the first home game. The man's a legend of a Real Madrid player. They're going, nah, mate, this ain't working for us. Boo him at half time because they're not winning. They expect him to be winning at half time and at the end of the game. Or they're booing you. They're waving handkerchiefs. Get him out. So, man are saying Stoke, Man United, Everton and Fulham. Yeah, take the Everton job after Moyes. He's more of a legend at Everton anyway. He could get the Rangers job because their manager's on about getting sacked. F94 said, I'm still fuming he started Mourinho in the 10, but I do think Arteta wants to win, not just top 4, but it hasn't worked. Could have been the youngest manager to win the Prem. Instead, three-peat second musty. Do you know what, F, right? One thing I have never, ever questioned about Mikel Arteta is his will to win. I think he cares about the club. I think he desperately wants the club to win the league. He obviously wants to prove himself that he is a top manager. I've never questioned his passion for the club. Never. This guy cried when he left the club. I think he loves the club. I would never question that. I will always give him that respect, say, Arteta loves the club. But also, does he love the club enough to walk away if he knows he can't do it? Because remember, after the first title challenge, he said he nearly quit that summer because he wasn't sure whether he could get Arsenal over the finish line. So you nearly quit after the first title challenge. You're now heading into your 4th. So if you don't win it this year, what are you staying at the club for? Because you ain't done it in 4 years of title challenge. Realistically, you do love the club, but you ain't going to walk away from 15 million a season, are you? Now, not that I expect you to either. But he could still go to the Kroenkes and say, look, 4 years, it hasn't happened, mutual agreement. He would still get paid off. He would still get paid up. If he believed in himself that much as well, he would get another job. But he will see out that contract because he knows he'll probably never see 15 million a year ever again. DMW said, bro, if you Google Trossard, you see this video thumbnail up in the results. Wish I could send screenshots here. Yeah, they listen, man. They get put up sometimes, don't they? And in the Google search, especially if you yeah, it shows up. That's good, man. It's good, right at the top as well. They know what YouTube know what time it is, man. You know what I mean? We're in them major search engines now. I told you. You know they say when you get to 100K, YouTube treat your channel different. So you never know. Maybe they promote things more. Coolio said, Curtis, I'm 15. I think he's doing an all right job. This is my first time we are challenging. Sorry if I disagree. Bro, it's an age thing. It's an age thing. I've said this before. To some fans, they can't believe when they hear people like me saying, yeah, this manager's like, he's not doing a great job. They're like, if you was born in the 2000s, he's one of the best managers you've seen at Arsenal, and he's provided you one of the best periods that you've watched as an adult. Because if let's say you're born in 2000, you never really saw the Invincibles in 04. Then Wenger went years without a trophy, won a few FA Cups. Emery didn't win anything. You're looking at Arteta going, we finished second 3 years in a row and we've got top quality players and the stadium's full and the merch is everywhere. You're thinking, what's this guy? Why is this guy always moaning on the channel? But you got to understand, finishing second when I was growing up was seen as failure at Arsenal. I was gutted. I was sitting there going, oh, look, Man United have won the league. Ferguson's won it. Van Nistelrooy's Golden Boot winner. So when we used to finish second, that was like complete failure for me. The season's a write-off. Now you finish second, we're challenging and City are too good. And I said this to Cecil the other day. I said, we don't have a divine right to win the Prem. Because realistically, Liverpool have got, in my opinion, a better team and a better manager than us. So they're the favourites to win the league. And then he said, but why do you expect Arsenal to win the league if Liverpool have got a better manager and a better squad? And I said, at the start of last season, I would have said, and most people would have said, Man City will win the league. They've got the best team and they've got the best manager. But Liverpool won the title. They spent £12 million last summer. So football doesn't always work like that. If football worked like that, we wouldn't even watch it. I wouldn't even make content because you'd go, they're the best team. They've got the best manager. They're going to win everything. Football doesn't work like that. Most of us would have thought last season, Mbappe going to Real Madrid with Vinicius and Rodrigo, they're going to clean up and win everything. They didn't win anything last season. With that front three, that is like a dream team. Most people go on FIFA, they rush to be Real Madrid because that front three is a cheat code. They didn't win one trophy. So it shows that football doesn't work like that. So even if Liverpool are better than Arsenal, and even if Slot's better than Arteta, I still expect you to win the title because you've had the most time, the most stability, and the most money compared to Liverpool. Slot's been at the club a year. You've been here for 6. So find a way to get him out of his comfort zone. And a big part of that would have been go to Anfield and beat Liverpool. Because Slot had things ran his way last season, Slot. City fell off. Arsenal fell off. He strolled to the title. He probably thought, wow, all this hype around the Prem. I've just rolled to the title. What you got to do is start doing things that put them out of their stride. Go to the ground and beat them. That puts pressure on Slot. Do you know what I mean? Straight away. Now he's in a different situation. So that's what Arsenal have got to do. Go and win the Carabao Cup in February, March. It'll give us a different mindset. We've been to Wembley. We've won. We've beaten a big team in the final. Odegaard's lifted the trophy. Last 2 months for the title. Now we feel different. Everything's got to... The mentality's got to change. Ras said, Curtis, I've been an Arsenal supporter since 1969. I've seen it all. Arteta is one of the best managers we've had, but it's the killer instinct he's lacking. And listen, potential best managers, I think you would have to add that to it because, like you said, George Graham, basically Mr. Arsenal for me growing up. And then Wenger, who people thought Arsene Wenger was, they named the club after him. He was that much ingrained in the club. It's the difference in it between being a good player and a great player, a good manager and a great manager. Arteta is probably a good manager, but not a great manager because he ain't won nothing. Can you even call him a good manager with that few trophies? I think you can just say he's an all right manager. Surely you've been watching Arsenal that long. He can't be one of the best managers. Arteta always said I win trophies in my 7th season. Yeah, well, let's see, bro. Big up to Stevie Wonder. F said the way Gary Neville reacted when Liverpool scored, he defo regrets picking us to win the league. LOL. Feels like the Anfield L really made people not rate us anymore after 3 games, and I don't blame them. I think what people have to understand, Gary Neville's a born and bred Manchester United fan. For him, Liverpool and Man City is his worst nightmare. Man United hate Liverpool. Liverpool hate Man United. He does not want Liverpool to win the league. Plus, they can go ahead of Man United in league titles. And Man City were like little bro in Manchester to him. He probably didn't even take them serious when he was playing. Now they're dominating that city. He wants Arsenal to win the league, which is why every year Gary Neville's like, Arsenal are going to win the league. Because he can't even pick Liverpool or Manchester City. It's a nightmare for him. I think even Gary Neville's sitting there now going, I need to stop picking Arsenal, man. They ain't winning nothing. Trust me, man. I'm telling you now. Even he knows. Even he knows. Berta Tools says, 60 years old, I've seen how the real Arsenal play football several times. This team isn't playing Arsenal football because of who is instructing them. We need the real Arsenal back. Yeah, I totally agree with that. There is a certain way you should play as Arsenal, and we ain't playing it. Truth said, come on, Curtis Odegaard can't lift the trophy by himself. Arms too weak, hands too snotty. I'm sure maybe someone could help him. Maybe Win the Dog could help him. Flick, Glasner, Areola, Enrique, who would you pick? I would pick Luis Enrique, bro. That PSG team, he absolutely transformed them. Got Dembele in Ballon d'Or conversations as a striker. Guy's an absolute genius. And for me, I've said this many times over the years, most people would say Pep's Barca is the best Barcelona, which I agree. But I enjoyed Luis Enrique's Barcelona more than Pep's. That MSN Barcelona is the most enjoyable Barcelona, probably along with Rijkaard's actually. But I think his was even better. So I'll go with Enrique. Wish Mourinho was in the Premier League to destroy Arteta like Wenger. Yeah, man, I think Mourinho is slowing down now at the end of his career. DMW said, missed the start of the show. Did you speak about Ten Hag? Nah. Spoke about Ten Hag the other day, bro. Obviously, 2 games and sacked. Gunnar Galactico, I'm blessed to be 36 years old. Saw the best of the Arsenal. Sorry you kids messed out. Vavavoom. Like, you just had to be there, didn't you? Anybody who's got the pleasure that you watched that Arsenal at Highbury, it's like it's not even the same football club as what we are now. And don't get me wrong, we're not terrible now. We finished second. We are one of the best teams in the Prem. But we had a different feeling about us completely. I don't know if it was Highbury, Wenger, Omri. I can't imagine watching Arsenal now with a YouTube channel, seeing us like that. It didn't even make sense. It didn't even make sense how good we were. And that's why it pains me to watch us like this. I do watch alongs for every game, and I struggle to watch Arsenal play. I really do. I struggle to watch us. The fact that we're finishing second and competing is the only thing that just about gets us through it. And every now and then you get a Man City 5-1 or a Real Madrid victory, and that carries you through 4 or 5 weeks because then you're going to have 5 weeks of heavy eyelids. But we had players that were just Thierry, mate. Honestly, it was something else. You bought the boots because of him. You pulled the socks over your knees because of him. You wore the night gloves because of him. If you were lucky enough to play on a good enough pitch, you did the knee slide because of him. He had his own finish. You score a goal, you go, I did the Henry finish. But you automatically knew what that goal was. Left-hand side of the penalty area, curling it into the far corner. It's unbelievable. Bergkamp, oh my God. Them ballers there. But it's football in general. It's not just Arsenal, to be honest. It's football in general. Imagine being a Man United fan and looking at Man United now. And I used to dread Man United. When Man United would turn up with Ronaldo and Tevez and Rooney, or Cantona and them, man, back in the day. Beckham, Andy Cole and Dwight York. Imagine looking at United now. Xerxes and Johnny Evans. Well, I know Johnny Evans is gone now, but Anana. Nah, man. It's the whole of football, to be honest. The whole of football. Chelsea last year, Nicholas Jackson. They've had Diego Costa and Drogba and Hazard. It's the whole of football. And it's because of these coaches. I promise you. Some people might think in the chat, wow, he hops on about football and how it's changed. I've got a son in the academy system now, and I see the way football has changed now, even from kids football up to adults football. And the coach is so much more dominant than they were 10, 15 years ago. Coaches back in the day, Ferguson back in the day, bro, he'd sit on the bench and he'd just be chomping on chewing gum. You see Ferguson on the bench, sat down, just chomping his way through some from spearmint chewing gum. Because he don't need to say that much, bro. I've had 5 days on the training ground. Let Ronaldo run. Let Rooney run. You might see him stand up the odd time and have a little shout at someone or have a go at the ref or tap on his watch to say, I want more time added on. Then, man, just sit down and chilling. You ever notice these modern day coaches? They stand up the whole game. They're micromanaging the whole game, putting up all kinds of signs like they're directing traffic. Pep's going mad. You know what I mean? Arteta doesn't even stand in that box. He's always like 2 steps out of the box. Every player that gets the ball, he's like, come on, do this. You're like, oh my God. He's like an army sergeant. Let him play, bro. Let him play. Wenger, he'd just sit down, try and zip up his jacket 30 times. You've said enough, bro. Let him play. They're all micromanaging through the games now. Each player, get the ball, do this. You know, it's all structured. It's like a movie. The Premier League is like Hollywood now. So, Martin, when you get the ball, you're going to give it to Saka. Then you're going to run. Saka's going to cut inside and cross it in. Like, it's all... I know it's tactics, but coaches are too dominant now. Now you've even got set-piece coaches standing up and being in front of the camera when you get a corner. You could have never, ever... I didn't know who the coaches were back in the day. If you're lucky, you might just about know who the assistant manager is. Do you know what I mean? Just about. Now you've got set-piece coaches standing up. U-shaped nonsense. Yeah, bro, because Pep's been put on this pedestal that he's the godfather of football. So now you've got guys in League Two playing out from the back. You know what I mean? Giving the ball, goalkeepers playing it short and playing out. Where back in the day, Ferguson was hitting teams on the break. Wenger was dominating possession. Mourinho played a bit more defensive and rugged. Ancelotti, freedom for the players to attack. You had 5 or 6 styles of football that were all successful. Where now everyone's just copying Pep's homework and it's boring. And I always say it's not Pep's fault. People ask me this all the time. Has Pep killed football? He hasn't. Because Pep didn't come out here and say, yo, you lot copy what I do. Everyone's just saying, oh, Pep wins all these trophies. Let's do what Pep does. I don't know why people do that. Why does nobody play 4-4-2 anymore? Leicester won the league playing 4-4-2. Atletico won the league playing 4-4-2. Why don't one of these big clubs buy 2 top quality strikers and throw them up front together? And see, people might struggle to deal with that. 2 centre-backs against 2 strikers like the old days. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's just gone, we'll do the same thing. Left back inverts. Number 6, everything goes through the number 6. We're going to try and copy what Rodri does. You know, we're all doing the same thing. Right footer on the left footer on the right. 4-4-2 days, bro. Come on, man. Pro Evo, FIFA, 4-4-2. 2 strikers, partnerships. Bergkamp and Henry, Cole and York. 4-4-2, man. Come on. Somebody be brave and bring that back with 2 strikers. I know Amorim doesn't play that, but, you know, his formation's a mess. Havanjit said Bayern went for company after he got relegated with Burnley. That's a good point, you know. Arteta will definitely get a big club, yeah, because he'll get the Pep recommendation. Company got relegated with Burnley, but they said, oh, the football was so good. And he had a big rep as a player, and Pep gave him the cosign. And he got the Bayern job. So you're probably right, actually. He probably will get a good job. Liverpool could do 4-4-2 with Isak and Ekatike, yeah. And then probably go, Gravenberch. The only thing, where would they play Wirtz unless they play him on the left? Somebody should do it. Arteta plays 5-5-0. You're not wrong. I've enjoyed this show. I feel like I've got a lot off my chest and spoken about a lot of things, but I have kind of waffled. But I'd call it good waffle. You know what I mean? Good waffle. We went Disney World last year, and they made Mickey Mouse waffles for breakfast. They actually was the face of Mickey Mouse, and then chocolate and strawberries and that, you know, getting ready for Disney World. And I said, that's some good waffle right there. You know what I mean? With the syrup and the chocolate. You can't eat it often, but this is the kind of waffle we've had today. Arteta's waffle is like bird's eye waffles that you used to have for dinner when you was younger and you was poor and you had it with spaghetti. It's that dry waffle in the oven. That's his kind of waffle. Nobody wants that waffle. Leandro Trossard. People have been asking me in the comments for about an hour. Are you going to talk about the Trossard story? Yeah, I've had to I've had to speak about football. Um, Besiktas have made an offer worth 22 million euros for Leandro Trossard. Arsenal have not responded to the offer yet. The Turkish Super League transfer window does not close until Friday, September the 12th, which is a week today. Let's translate. What's 22 million euros in pounds? 19 million. Just gave him a new deal, but it was just a pay rise. There's no extension on the deal. In reality, right, Trossard's out of contract at the end of May. We're now in September. He's walking for nothing. Realistically, what Arsenal should have done is sold Martinelli, right? We should have sold Martinelli because he's worse than Trossard right now. This for me is take it or leave it, right? I don't mind if they sell him or keep him. If you keep him, he's a good squad player. If you sell him, he's not somebody that should be starting for us. I would have sold Martinelli though. But he just realise he's walking away for nothing at the end of the season. I suppose you could look at it and go, Eze, Martinelli, and Madueke can play there. You can afford to get rid of him, to be honest. You can afford to get rid of him. It's just whether Arteta is going to allow the squad to weaken while the window's now closed and we can't do anything about it. It's interesting they haven't responded. It's only coming from the Turkish media, which again, is it true or not? That's the problem. Is it true or not that they actually want him? Would you guys sell him? What would you do? Ramba says, get the cash. Would you take 20 million for Martinelli? You've got to get more than 20 million for Martinelli. Just on a Brazilian hype and pace, somebody's got to pay more than that. Alex said, I'm Turkish. The Turkish media is a load of... Well, a lot of people are saying there's nothing to validate whether this offer is true or not. So 19 million pounds. If they sold him, I wouldn't be bothered. I'd be like, well, he's out of contract. He's not going to start. They should have sold Martinelli. Is where the problem is. He's playing that bad that he's probably the one we should have cashed in on. But you got Eze, you got Martinelli, you got Madueke. Do you really need Trossard as well? And he's got to be on 100 grand a week plus. I don't know. I think Arsenal, if this offer is true, I think Arsenal reject it. Wouldn't surprise me if they rejected it. Remember, they rejected 35 million last summer, but then because he's got a year left now, maybe they think just get some money in and balance the books. This second part of the story is more controversial for me, and I want to know your guys' opinion. This is being reported by multiple outlets in the British media. Mail Sport understands Arsenal were open to selling Gabriel Martinelli at the start of the window. However, they had valued him at more than £60 million, while interest was only reaching the 40 million mark. This deterred the club from pushing to sell. Now, at the start of the window, you might have said, okay, new season, he comes back, we want to try and get 60 million. I watched him closely in pre-season, I mean, literally next to the pitch. And I was saying to Cecil, this guy looks like he's done at the club. He looks like he can't even get past the defender. If you're telling me clubs were going, look, we'll pay 40 million for him. Let's be real. Usually when clubs turn up at the table, they're prepared to pay a little bit more. So let's say a club said, we'll give you 40 million for Gabriel Martinelli. Surely you could have said, right, if we can squeeze that to 45 or 50 for a guy that costs 7 million that he's playing awful, I would have sold him. I'll be honest with you. If you could have got me 45 or 45 plus 5 million add-ons, he would have been out the door for me, to be honest. On 180 grand a week as well, by the way, he would have been out the door. With Martinelli being managed by Arteta, I don't see him getting considerably better either. Yeah, 2 seasons ago, 60, 70 million, 15 league goals all day long. But now, 45 million, I'd have let him go. That would be a record sale for Arsenal, actually, and you're getting a big earner off the wage bill. And then you could keep Trossard as the backup for Eze, and Madueke can play on the left as well. So I think Arsenal have got this the wrong way round. I think they've rated Martinelli at a level that he's not actually at anymore, to be honest. And Keros said he stunk it out for Brazil yesterday. Apparently, he started for Brazil yesterday, and they won 3-0. They won 3-0 yesterday. And Capia played for Ecuador, clean sheet. Gabriel played for Brazil at centre-back. I think they won 3-0. But Martinelli played, and a few people have said he didn't play well. But, yeah, I think we're stuck a little bit with him at the moment. They probably went into the window thinking they could get 60 million for him, and they couldn't. Henry said big clubs demand attacking football, no chance with Arteta. Where's the Saudi link gone? Bro, the Saudis, they're rich, they're not stupid. Even they would have looked at Martinelli and gone, nah, not for us, mate, not for us. We'll leave that one alone. So, will Arsenal sell Trossard? Would you sell Trossard? £19 million, 22 million euros. Do Arsenal sell now, knowing that his contract's up next summer? Arteta seems to love Trossard. I'm not sure they will, but maybe they need to balance the books a little bit. I'll take Madueke over Martinelli, said Algar. Lord Mayor said he was good yesterday. This Martinelli hate is crazy. Listen, I didn't watch the game. People coming in the chat saying he stunk out the place. Some people saying he played all right. If the Saudis aren't interested, you know it's bad. Yeah, because they take players, especially if they've got a big name, even if they're washed up. They're even looking at Martinelli going, nah, you're all right, mate. You're okay. It wasn't that bad. 19 million, what? Even Liverpool got 10 million for Trent with 1 month left. The problem you got, we paid, what, 25 million for Trossard? He's older now. He's on bigger wages. And it's not a Saudi club that are in for him. So, yeah, 19 million, that's probably the best we can get right now, people, unfortunately. I am out of here, people. Big up to everyone locked in today. Is anyone live? Should we redirect? Let me know in the comments if anyone is live. If not, we will just get out of here. By the way, yeah, I would. If you're bored or you're looking for stuff to do, watch that Michael Owen and Rio Ferdinand interview, man. Really good. I was just watching Fat Joe and Jadakiss hip hop podcast, which is so funny as well. If you're a hip hop fan, lock into that as well, people. If not, I will be back tomorrow. Big up to everyone locked in. Hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you all soon, people.